probably time to just do a quick roundup in terms of where we're at with selling things. I've posted, I think, 2 videos in the past talking about my experience with eBay, Vinted or Depop in terms of selling stuff. The plan is to try and clear everything out of the house that we've got and exit the UK with as little as possible. Anything we do have left, we'll store at Yvonne's mum and dad's or in storage back in Scotland and kind of make that our temporary base whilst we're out of the country. That's kind of the plan. So I thought I would do a quick recap on the 3 platforms and show you exactly how things are going. So generally just been clearing a few electrics and a few other bits and bobs from the house on eBay. So just here, I'll put the first screen. But I sold 2 amps, 2 phono amplifiers to use with turntables. So one went for 75 quid, the other one went for £64. They shifted pretty quickly out on the 7th of May, I think they were sold, 6th of May and 7th of May. So those 2 products out the house cleared. I've got a lot of artwork at home from gigs that I've been to, concerts. Over the last 30 plus years, I've been to about 280 or 290 concerts, and I've always tried to pick something up at each concert, so t-shirts or a poster, both sometimes, or a programme. So I'm starting to clear some of that stuff out as well. So managed to sell a Tool poster that I'd had from a London show a couple of years ago that had a little bit of damage on it, so 40 quid out the door. Sold 2 Sonos speakers that we had in just spare room and around the house that weren't really getting used that much, so 65 quid each for those out the door. The only band t-shirt I've managed to sell so far on eBay was a Placebo t-shirt, so that was gone as well. Another couple of Sonos speakers went earlier on in the year out the door. What else? Had a 8K 360 camera that I'd bought, taken it to a couple of festivals over the last couple of years, but I'm using this one that I'm videoing on is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I just find it really handy. So the 8K 360 camera just seemed like it was definitely in need of being sold. So 440 quid for it on the bundle. Another Sonos speaker that we had some artwork from a Blink 182 concert in Canada that was sold for 60 quid. And then going back a little bit further, 2 David Gilmour ticket stubs from the Royal Albert Hall and the Brighton shows that we had been to last year. So £30 and £20 respectively. My brain's fried this morning. Respectfully. So those are sold and gone out the door as well. So that's the eBay platform. I had this whole issue with the 8 Sleep thing. It's back in the house. I just need to unbox it, test it and decide whether it works or it's being sold or whatever's happening with it. But that's a TBC for now. So let's have a look at Depop. We'll jump to it next. Depop being a kind of second-hand style clothing store, very similar to Vinted, but more of an international flavour to it. I've sold 1 hoodie on it so far for 145 quid. You can see that on screen now. So that's shipped off to America. That's taken care of. Haven't really prioritised Depop too much. I've tried to stick to just eBay and Vinted, but I think once this weekend's over and done with and I can get back to focusing on the t-shirts, I'll give Depop another try, and I might actually list some of the t-shirts for international selling because I've kind of restricted myself to just focusing on the UK for now. But that's Depop, so 1 sale on Depop. Jumping back slightly now on my screen just as I scroll through it, let's have a little look at Vinted and see how it's gone so far. So in terms of sales, most recently sold a Fontaine's DC shirt for 40 quid. Sold The War on Drugs, sold a Tool t-shirt. What else? Metallica sleeveless, a Tool from Portland in the US. The woman who bought that actually sent me a lovely message. First person that sent me pictures of her actually wearing the t-shirt and just saying, great fit, loved it. And so that was kind of nice. I was telling her that this was a 30 plus year collection that I'd sold and it was great to see somebody really enjoying it. That was a nice little interaction I had. What else? Another Tool tour t-shirt, Metallica, their 40th birthday t-shirt. A really old original Metallica t-shirt, The Shortest Straw. It was a little short for me. It was definitely giving me like crop top vibes with my protruding belly hanging out the bottom of it. Thin Lizzy was sold, one of the cheapest, 10 quid. That Metallica t-shirt went for 60 quid. I was pretty happy with that. Tool Fan Club t-shirt and a Wolf Alice t-shirt. What else? Another Tool, Turnstile. Sold an Above and Beyond t-shirt from a dance music festival, 50 quid for it. Russian Circles, 25 quid for it. What else have we got? Interpol and Ben Howard is the last one there. 30 quid gone out the door. So that's my Depop run so far. I think the account's sitting at about £400-ish. In fact, let me just check and I'll put it on screen now for you. Let me just have a quick look at my Vinted account, so it should also show up here. Vinted account, yeah, 400 quid so far out of those t-shirts. I haven't withdrawn any money from the platform yet, so it's going okay. And then lastly, Facebook Marketplace. What have I managed to sell on Facebook Marketplace? Oh yeah, so a black leather chaise long, not the band Wet Legs chaise long, but an actual chaise long. 100 quid for it. Guy came and picked that up. And now the last thing I've got on there just now is an IKEA extendable dining table, 4 chairs and a bench. I was a bit optimistic at listing it at 350 quid. I think it was like £800 new, but anyway, I've reduced it down to 150, trying to get rid of it in the Northampton area, and we'll see how we get on, but hopefully we can try and clear that. And then it's on to the bigger things in the house. So we've already sold a number of things to friends who just want things from the house that they've seen. So we've kind of earmarked them off, monitor screens and gaming chairs and a computer and some other bits and bobs. So those things are kind of taken care of. So it's the big things now, like 77-inch TV, new-ish DFS sofa that we've got to get rid of. But we'll get them listed soon. We've still got a little bit of time, and I don't want to be living in an empty house, but we've still got a couple of months to go before departing. But that's kind of where things have gone. In terms of the merch stuff, I've had a couple of people message me about it. My Vinted account is called John Sells UK, just kind of the same as my channel, John Talks UK. My Vinted page is called John Sells UK. I'll put a link in the description. If anybody's interested in some classic band t-shirts going back over the years, then I'll just be listing them actively over the next couple of weeks, continuing on. And then I've got a record collection to work through. That's one that I need to really have a think about. I've contacted a couple of stores, a couple of salespeople, a couple of people that trade records. We've talked about prices, but it's kind of, I've catalogued them all, so I know roughly a value. I know what the kind of market median is for these records, and I also fully understand that people have got to sell them on, so I've got quite a bit of wiggle room in there, but some of the values that are being quoted just now are just wildly off. So I may go down the route of selling them individually, in which case I'll start that from next week. I need to figure out whether I start a new eBay page or carry on with my existing eBay page. But in the meantime, it's kind of nice to just move things along, especially stuff that I haven't really interacted much with for many years that are just kind of sitting around. Did I even talk about I think I might have missed one of the eBay sales. Let me just scoot back. I had sold a Garmin watch on eBay, sold some light bulbs that I had, sold a microphone that I had, and a Buzz Lightyear. One of Yvonne and I's first ever holidays when we were young was to Florida. I think we were like 19 at the time when we went to Florida, and it was just as Toy Story had came out. So I bought a Buzz Lightyear and I've had it in its box ever since. And so that sold last week and shipped out to somebody. So an original 1995, still in its box and fully operational Buzz Lightyear. So I'm kind of glad to see that go off to a new home. Right, that's kind of it. That's a very quick roundup in terms of where we're at with selling stuff. So I know some people are watching the channel trying to see like, how are you making this work? What are you doing? How are you getting on with selling things? Well, there's a very quick whistle-stop tour. Let me know what you think down on this. I've had some great feedback from people. Thank you for those that have reached out to me on like Instagram and also just through the YouTube comments or emailing me directly. Some great advice about selling stuff. Some people that have reached out talking about other channels on YouTube that sell things, that are doing the kind of reseller route and how they list items. So it's given me some ideas for the t-shirt collection and the record collection. The record collection is vast. I think there's maybe 2,000 plus records. Many of them are still in the wrappers. Many of them are still unopened because I'm one of those collectors. Anyway, that's a discussion for another day. Thanks for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. The sun is out.